Hello and welcome back to the latest episode of my Love Machine podcast. Now, today I am joined by a very special guest, Sandra Hay. Now, Sandra is a love and relationship coach, and she helps single women attract their soulmate and get the relationship they desire by loving themselves first and creating an empowering relationship with themselves as a basis for every other relationship. And as a result of love coaching, her women love themselves more, gain confidence, tap into their self-worth, and attract the man and relationship that takes their life to the next level. That is quite an introduction there, Sandra.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome to my show.
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. It's a lovely sunny day today, which is quite rare as we head towards, middle of autumn now already.
Oh, you are in luck. Here is not sunny at all.
Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Scotland.
Scotland, which part of Scotland?
East Lothian.
Okay. I went to school in the borders of Scotland, so I love Scotland. But
it is beautiful. I just moved recently here and it's so nice.
It's a lovely place. But you haven't got a Scottish accent.
No, I don't have, because I'm originally from Serbia. I lived in Dubai for 5 years previous to this, and then I met my husband there, so we moved here.
Wonderful.
Last year. Actually, it will be a year just like in November, in a month time. Exactly in a month time. Yeah, 15th of November last year.
Spooky. Congratulations. That's really good.
Well, thank you very much.
Now, I know that you told me before that you were before you met your husband, you were having quite a hard time meeting the wrong sort of guys. And you were doubting if you were ever going to find your real partner, your real Mr. Right.
Yes, 100%.
So what you did, you learned to rebuild your self-confidence and you learned to love yourself, which is so important when it comes to dating. And you said that your journey led you to attract your soulmate in 6 months, got married 18 months later, and now helps you to empower women to find love. Is that all true?
That is all 100% true. And yes, now I'm laughing to when you said like I was attracting wrong guys, but it wasn't funny back then at all. It was very scary. And now when I'm speaking to women, I really recognize that same fear and same doubt, and really like almost seeing all these people out there finding love and doubting like, am I meant for this? Is there anyone out there for me? Because, you get so overwhelmed by meeting all these wrong people, and it's like, what is happening? I'm working towards this. I'm dating, I'm meeting people, but something is not right. Something is wrong here. And then you start questioning yourself. Is there something wrong with me? Should I change? Should I adjust something in myself? And yeah, that led me to that journey of self-discovery and really working on myself first. So if you don't mind, I wish I would share that story. It might take a bit longer, but yeah, I think it will be very valuable for all women listening out there to hear how my journey was, because maybe they will get some inspiration out of that.
I'd love to hear your story, because it's such a common problem. Women come to me all the time for coaching, and not just women, men too, and they think that they're the last one standing. They're the last single person left, and there's nobody out there for them.
Yeah.
And all their friends and family are all paired off, and all they do is they hear wonderful stories about how happy everybody is, and they think, is there anybody out there for me? And of course there is, and you're living proof of that, as are everyone that ever finds a partner is living proof of that. So please do share your story about how you found your soulmate.
Well, as you've mentioned, I was really trapped into that cycle of meeting all the wrong people. And I was really looking for that committed relationship, or that relationship that will lead to marriage and something, like I was looking for my life partner. And I was meeting all of these guys. They don't want to commit. They just want something casual. Oh, let's see how things go. And you know how story goes. Basically, you see them for a few times and that is it. And I was so frustrated. At the time, I was online dating. So yes, I was dating in person. I was meeting people out there, but also that time I started online dating, and that was completely new game of frustration, because now you have much more people. Now you have access to all of these guys. And again, the same story. Like it's almost like that dating from before, but on steroids. Before you were meet few wrong people, now you meet a lot of them. And really, it was so exhausting and so frustrating that at one point I was like, you know what, this is enough. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. I have to figure out what am I doing wrong here. And that is the time I deleted the apps. I stopped dating completely. And I was like, now I'm figuring this out. And really, I turned completely inward instead of looking in external solution, in like meeting the people, meeting the person. I was really looking within myself to see how I can become that person that attracts my dream man. And that is the time that I really started working on my confidence, on self-love, on my mindset. I was working on myself physically. It was really almost like reinvention of self completely, and that process lasted for 6 months. So basically that is the time that I connected with my desires, with really seeing what is important to me, what do I want, who am I, how I can become that person who attracts my man. And after 6 months I went back in online dating, not very willingly, but it's like, okay, let me give it one more shot. At that time it was completely different experience. That time I will match with somebody and instantly if this is the person for me or not. And if they are not, it's like, okay, bye bye, I have no time to waste on you, I'm on a mission here to meet my person. And basically that time I went on a date only with one guy, and he's my husband now, because I knew exactly what I want, who I am, that I'm worthy of that love. And it almost happened so easily. I was like, why did I make such a big deal out of this? And after that, I started recognizing this in other women. First, I started helping my friends, and I'm like, okay, these things really work. So basically, I have master's degree in pharmacy, so I was pharmacist back then. And I was like, you know what, this is my mission, this is something so bigger than me. So yeah, I turned that into my calling, and I became love coach.
That's amazing. So what was so different about your husband? What was in his profile that made you think, wow, this guy is really different?
Well, actually, his profile wasn't different. I just now, when I remember that moment, because I was using Tinder back then, and when I swiped, I was really thinking, should I swipe left or right? Because his profile didn't say anything. He said something so generic, nothing that he would stand out. He even had like 2 pictures or something. But just in that moment, it's like, it's almost like, am I in a good mood or in a bad mood if I will swipe left or right, basically. So I swiped right, but his first message was something that really stood out for me, because for me, like, guy who has a humor, it's like the thing that is like almost the number one thing that is important for me. And his first message was a joke. So I remember even now that moment when I read that message and I was walking and I started laughing instantly. So it almost like from that first message, there was something there.
What did he say in the message?
A message was about one of my pictures. So basically I had one of the pictures from Museum of Illusions, and it was a joke towards that picture. So it was really something, that got me in. When you are opening these messages, you don't expect anything special. You expect like, hi, how are you? Blah, 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 stuff like that. But this was really a joke. And I started laughing. It's like, oh, this is great. And I responded with a joke. So basically we started with that really positive vibe that, it resulted in marriage. Now it will be actually on 25th of October, 3 years back, we matched on Tinder. And then we went on a first date on 7th of November. So
Wow.
It's like 3-year anniversary now.
That's impressive that you remember all the dates. I've not got a clue. I know it was August 13 years ago that I met my wife. That was it. I don't remember the exact date, but I know our wedding anniversary from 9 years ago. Don't question me on that now.
I still remember. Maybe in 13 years I won't. I don't know.
I've got reminders. I've got signs up in the house saying the anniversary, reminding me. Just little love hearts and things going on in the toilet and that sort of thing, just to remind me of that.
Yeah.
This decoration is just to remind me. But this proves 2 things. It proves that, first of all, if things are meant to be, and I believe the universe has a way of pairing people together in the right way, you decided in the right mood, you swiped him and you said, yeah, I'll give him a chance. If you'd have swiped the other way, who knows what might have happened. But I think it's put in front of you and opportunities are always there. I think do try and swipe people positively more than negatively if you can, because people do not sell themselves in profiles very well.
Absolutely. Honestly, like, just when you see, especially if somebody doesn't know, if somebody's not that dedicated to this, they will just put something very generic, because people are sometimes shy to share who they are. Sometimes they don't want to be judged, and sometimes they are so afraid to really say who they are because they will be rejected instantly even before they match with someone. So I feel that there are so many emotions going even in creating your profile.
It's true. People do make very little effort in their profile because it's
Mm,
self-preservation from being hurt, like you said. They think
yeah.
if I made the full effort and had amazing pictures and the best profile, putting the best version of me out there, and I still get rejected, that's a very
Mhm.
deep and personal thing. By not
Exactly.
making an effort, it's almost like an excuse saying, well, it's not my
Yeah.
fault. It's not my fault.
They
I
don't
didn't,
really know me.
they don't know me. But
Yeah.
I say this a lot in my podcast, in my coaching. Dating is marketing. And you've got to market yourself and your profile and your text and your messages in the best possible way. These are all things that I teach, and I've covered them in podcasts before, and I do it
Mm.
every single day with my clients. I'm so sick of seeing boring, generic profiles on dating apps, dating sites, and people coming to me saying, James, what's not happening? It's not working. And messaging is really, really important too. And humor is so
Absolutely.
important. You said,
Absolutely, because sometimes, as you said, we are taking this so seriously. Like, I'm the last single person in this world. And when I'm talking to this person, I have to be so serious because I have to, like grip them so tightly because probably they are also the last person. Like it's so serious. There is no lightness. There is no fun. There is no like, okay, I just met this person. Let me be curious who they are. Let me see what is it about them. Maybe I will meet a good friend. It not necessarily a romantic partner, but just almost like we forget that we are meeting a person and just being curious about them. We just take it too seriously, in my opinion. Sometimes you will see people will, let's say if they have kids, they will not mention that because maybe somebody doesn't want that and let's give them a chance and all of that. Like, why? This is part of you. This is very important for you. Would you really like somebody who doesn't want to have anything to do with your kids? Like just people sometimes, as you said, they are almost like undervaluing what they have and not presenting themselves in the right light.
they do. Many people do ask me that. They say, I've got kids. Do I mention that in the profile? Of course you do. It's who you are. It's your life. You put
Absolutely. I mean, it's part of your life and a big part of your life. It's not that you didn't mention that you have auntie in, I don't know, Canada. It's something that is very important part of your life.
It is. And it's why you shouldn't lie in your profile and withhold important information.
Mm,
Don't add a few inches to your height. Don't take a few years off your age. Be completely honest about who you are and be proud, embrace it. You mentioned
exactly.
you mentioned earlier that in some people's profiles, they don't make much of an effort because they're a bit shy. And people always come to me and say, James, I'm a bit shy. I can't find someone because I'm shy. Stop apologizing for being shy. There's nothing wrong with being shy.
Exactly. I mean, somebody's looking for somebody who is shy.
Yeah,
What is wrong with being shy? Nothing.
it's
Even you
nothing.
can say that.
It
What's wrong
means
with
it
that?
means that you're conscious of what's going to happen. You're vulnerable to some degree, and
Yeah,
everyone out there, no matter how confident you might come across, is no one wants to be rejected. No one wants to be told they're not good enough. Everyone has the same things going through their head. So shyness is not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's necessarily a great thing, but it's just a normal thing. It's just part of
it's
life.
just a thing. It's just who you are.
Just who
Like
you
somebody is
are.
extrovert, you might be introvert. It's just who you are. It's not bad
Yeah.
or good. It just is. That's it.
It just is. Just is. Yeah, exactly. You just are who you are and be proud of that. It's not going to change. And so
Yeah.
don't apologize for these things. Now, going back to you and your story, how you met your husband, you said that you did a lot of work on yourself before you did this, when you went around to Tinder the second time around. So what did you do to connect yourself on a deeper level with the whole
Mhm.
process?
Well, that is the time that I feel almost like that is the first time that I really started knowing myself. And I mean, I will just share here a few different things. Yes, I learned them recently, not at that time, but that time I was doing this subconsciously. So now if we see ourselves as we are, that we have physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual body, sometimes we are so focused on that physical, like on action, on going out, on dating, on putting yourself out there, on meeting more people. And that is only part of yourself. That is action and that is physical. And we are not paying attention of these other levels of ourselves and who we are. So I always start with my clients and even back then, I started with that desire piece, like, what is it that I truly want? And that comes from your spiritual self. It doesn't come from anything else. That comes where your passions are coming from. That is where your desires are coming from. So really listen to yourself. What do you want? Because we are so sometimes caught up in this game of we all have to have the most good looking person, the most successful, with the most money, with the most caring. Like we are looking, society told us that we should be looking for this perfect person. I mean, quotes perfect, because nobody is perfect and we shouldn't be looking for that. But when you are really honest with yourself, you see what you are looking are values. What you are looking is how you will feel next to that person. That is what is important to us. So when you connect on that level, when I can imagine that and imagine how I feel to that next to that person, then I can see what is it that I truly want. That for them maybe family is important, that friends are important, that maybe for us it's not important that they are successful in their career, but it's important that they take care of us. For somebody else, it will be important that they are very financially successful because they want somebody who is equal to them. So we really have to connect with ourselves and our true desires without this interference from everywhere else. So that is like that first step of connection deeply. And then when you go on mental level, that is where our mindset is. So what is your mindset? Do you really believe that all guys are the same, or you believe that you're meant for amazing love story? Do you believe that all guys will betray you, or you really believe that the right guy will take care of you and will stay with you forever, right? So we have to pay attention to these stories and beliefs that we are saying to ourselves. And I know that it really requires a lot of awareness in that area, but even if we start listening to our self-talk, we can really see what are these things that are in our mental body. And then when we go to our emotions, we can also learn a lot there, because if we pay attention how we feel, emotions are like our guiding principle, like our navigation. If I feel good, that means I'm on the right track, and if I don't, I'm not. So just pay attention, how do you feel, and honor that. Sometimes, especially now, because we are so towards masculinity in terms of don't show your emotions, don't show when you are hurting, don't be vulnerable, that is for weak people. If you show your weakness, they will hurt you. So we are hiding all of these emotions, and we are disconnecting from ourselves on that level. So really, connection with yourself and your feelings, it's so important in order to, okay, if I pay attention, how do I feel about myself? Do I love myself or not? When I pay attention, how do I feel about other things? You can learn so much about yourself and the world around you. And then after that, we go on physical level, and that is where action comes and dating comes and putting yourself out there, because obviously we won't get anything without action. But for me, action without this foundational work is not getting you results that you want. Because like for me, I was dating for so many years and meeting so many people when I didn't have foundation, when I didn't love myself, when my belief was nobody will be attracted to me because I'm overweight. Of course, nobody will be attracted to me, because I believe that my brain is here to prove me that I'm right. It cannot do anything else. If I believe that, brain will be like, got it, let's take action in that direction, right? So really, that foundation of your deeper connection paired with action is what gets you. I'm not talking to any relationship. I'm really here talking to that soulmate relationship, and that relationship that most women are looking for, at least the ones that I'm working with. And of course, if you are somebody who is in that period of your life, you say, you know what, actually, I don't want a serious relationship. I really want something casual. Be honest with yourself. Don't see it like it's a noble thing to want long-term relationship. There is nothing noble about it. Just be honest with yourself. What do I want right now, and what is important to me? So that is that connection that I created with myself. And after that, I took it in my work, and that's the work that I'm doing with my clients mainly.
I love that. That's such a great story and great advice there. When you were
Mm,
saying that, people do have an inner critic that's always telling them off. And like you
yeah,
mentioned, maybe it's about your weight, maybe it's about the way you come across to people, maybe it's about your confidence, maybe it's about you're not tall enough, not good looking enough. Everyone's got
absolutely.
this inner critic that's sitting on your shoulder saying to you, don't do that, you can't do that, give in,
Mhm.
stop.
You are
What
not good
advice?
enough. You
Not
are
good
not rich
enough.
enough. You are not attractive enough. It's always, you are not enough of
Mhm.
something.
But the thing is, we are enough because we are ourselves, and that's enough. There's no level to judge ourselves by. Whose standards
Yeah.
are we setting ourselves by? It's only our own standards that we've got. We all we
Yeah.
have. You can't do that. But I think it's a very, very common thing, and everyone does it. everyone's doubts themselves sometimes, all the time. So
Yeah.
what advice would you give somebody that's thinking these things? How can they snap themselves out of this?
So for me, first thing is, as I mentioned here, is that awareness piece. So we have to be aware of these things. If we are not aware, we cannot change anything. So really, first off, is listening to that self-talk. Like, what are the things that you are saying to yourself? And sometimes because we are programmed for these things to be our truth, because we believe them, we don't notice that we operate from these levels. So what we usually do, even we can go back to our childhood or when we were younger and listen to stories that we heard in our family, in our environment, from our friends, because we tend to, especially when we are kids, we are like a sponge who just takes things as they are. We don't question. If my parents tell me, I don't know, money don't grow on trees, I don't question that. In my mind, yes, that's 100% true. And I take that for the rest of my life and I build my life based on these beliefs. So if you are, let's say, from a family that you observed marriage that wasn't happy, that um, I don't know, father was leaving and you felt betrayed, you can grow up believing that all men are like that because you observed that in your family. So we can really go back and see what are the things that we started believing when we were younger. That is one thing. And then when we recognize them, then we can start shifting them. So that awareness piece is the first one. And then from there, we can start shifting and building new belief system, because the truth is we can have only what we believe we can, not a millimeter more than that. And if I believe all guys are the same, well, guess what? I will meet guys that are all the same. I will not meet anyone who is special. And sometimes even happens because women, I'm talking about women because I'm working mainly with them. So you can share your experience with men. But they would believe, for example, that on some level they don't love themselves and they don't believe that they are worthy because that, let's say, when they were a kid, they were not loved enough. So now even if somebody tells you, I love you, you'll be like, he wants something from me. There is some agenda behind it. So then you start constructing all these stories in your head, and eventually you push away this person because your belief system said he will betray me. I am not lovable. How he can love me? So really, these stories and these beliefs are building our reality.
It does make me sad that we can think back to our childhoods and comments people made to us at the time make us who we are now.
Yeah.
Positive things when we've been empowered and negative things. And I think this all the time. I can remember little comments people made to me when I was small and when I was young. I remember the bad stuff, but you don't always remember the good things. So I teach people now to write down the good things. If somebody says something that's going to empower you or pays you a nice compliment, make a list. Make even back on your phone, on a Word document, on a real bit of paper and a nice pad, so you can look at it and remember. Gratitude lists are important, but I think compliment lists, they're really important too. What do other people see in you? What is the good that they see in you? Because men in particular don't pay men other compliments so much. Women will always pay women compliments, like that dress looks really nice and that sort of thing. But a man would never say to another man, that's a really nice shirt, you look really hot in it. They wouldn't say that. So compliments are really, really hard, and you should value them when you get them and appreciate them. Even insincere compliments can change your thought process because the brain can't tell the difference. If someone's saying something to you just to try and get around you, trying to sell you something, the brain still gets the buzz from it. So that's nice. And they choose to see the good in it. And I mentioned this quite a bit in one of my talks I do for some corporate companies about confidence and building rapport. Compliments are so important. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, as you mentioned here, like these compliments and the nice things that we hear really can build so much about ourselves. So that is the second piece of even shifting these negative beliefs comes in. You build positive beliefs and you reinforce them, you repeat them, you start believing them. And it is a process. You won't wake up one day, okay, now I discovered this, I decided this is it. No, it's a process, because you always go back to old story and you recognize it, you shift it. And it's a process that at the beginning it's harder, but then it becomes easier. And then you start receiving compliments with more grace because now you believe them. You start giving yourself compliments if nobody else will. And then you really, that is like that foundation of confidence. One day you wake up and you are like, wow, I am this amazing person. Well, like you now see yourself differently because you've done all this work.
It's true. You're not just one story. You can write new stories. You can write ones. Whatever you do now is taking action for the future. So you're writing a new story, you're writing your own destiny, and you're empowering yourself. And that's what's important. Then you're going to become more confident. And as you know, confidence is something everyone wants. It's extremely attractive quality, and it's a powerful thing. Being confident,
Absolutely.
it does not mean arrogance, though. Confidence does not mean arrogance, because people used to think maybe when I was younger that I was a bit arrogant, but I was more shy than arrogant. It was more like I wouldn't say certain things. But now I'm confident now, and people will always assume that I'm going to be probably an arrogant person by definition of what I do and who I am, how I can talk to people. But it's not. I'm just a friendly guy, and confidence is part of that. It's just learning to live with who you are and being proud of it.
Oh,
But
absolutely. 100%. I mean, what you shared here is so important because everybody wants confidence. But, sometimes when they see confident person, people get bit like, it's not that they are afraid, but they have bit of reservation because, like this is something what we want, but also it triggers so many things in us. When you are not confident and you see somebody who is, you instantly become nervous because they have this thing that you want, and you are triggered by that. You see that, you can see yourself being on that level, like you can see yourself being confident, but still you are not there. So yeah, and confidence is extremely attractive. I mean, when you see confident person, there is, and it's not only attractive from like in romantic way, like whenever you see somebody who is confident, I don't know, in business, in friendship, in any way, we just go towards these people. We are attracted by this because we want it. Everybody wants to love themselves. In their core, we all want to accept who we are.
we do. It's such an attractive quality because it's something that you can aspire to. And
Mm,
again, it's people, even the most confident people aren't always confident all the time. They've still got the same doubts, as I mentioned
yeah.
before. But it's still about self-love, looking out after yourself, the inner child that's inside you, and nurturing it, telling yourself new stories, and not punishing yourself with old memories.
Mm.
But there's a difference, as you'll know, hopefully you'll talk to me about, between self-love and selfishness. Can you explain to me the difference between the two of them,
Mm.
and why you just absolutely must take care of yourself first beyond anyone else?
Well, I mean, this is very important topic, and whenever I speak about this, because in my mind somehow it was almost like, okay, we all know we should take care of ourselves, and we know that that is not selfish and all this. But whenever, even if I have interview or when I speak with some of my clients and all that, women have that thing of taking care of yourself is selfish. I should be taking care of others. And that might be ingrained in us from our generations of women as nurturer. But now we are in these so many roles. We are leaders, we are working, we have our own careers, plus we are mothers, we are wives and daughters and friends. So we have all of these many roles. And if you don't take care of yourself, you cannot be good for others, because if we imagine a cup, I cannot give to anyone anything from an empty cup. I have to fill up my cup first in order to give others. So when I'm taking care of myself, I am doing a favor to everyone else. And that is that huge difference, because taking care of yourself, it's not like I am taking care only about myself. That means I'm taking care of me and others. Selfishness is I'm taking care of me. I'm the only one who is important, and I don't care about anyone else. And self-care is quite opposite. I take care of me and everyone else, because taking care of really starts with me. And then I give from that overflow of love that I have, not from lack, not from that deprivation. Because for me, selfishness really comes from lack, and self-love comes from abundance. Because if I'm selfish, if I only take care of myself, that fundamentally means that I believe that there is not enough for everyone and I want everything for me. But when I live in self-love, like any love, it's on level of abundance. That means it's more than enough for all of us. So it's more than enough for me. It's more than enough for my kids. It's more than enough for my husband. It's more than enough for my friends. It's more than enough. And that's when we are at our best. When I love myself, I'm at my best. I'm the happiest. I mean, for me, there is nothing more sad than, let's say, kids who are observing unhappy mother, because they will grow up in unhappy people. As we mentioned, when we observe something as we kids, that's what we are learning to grow into, not intentionally, but that is what we are programmed to do. So can you imagine mother who is taking care of herself and she is happy, and then she is giving to everyone else. She is teaching her kids that that is that fundamental thing of You should love yourself and then take care of everyone else. So for me, that is that big difference between lack and abundance, between selfishness and self-love.
That's perfectly described. I would imagine it and describe it as when you're on an airplane, if there's an emergency, they say to put on your mask first before putting on the mask of children. Because only by doing that, you're in control and you can then look after them. If you put them on other people, you might struggle for air. You might not survive. Put yourself first, and then you can empower other people and teach them how to live in the best, happiest way. 100%. Having said that, we're in strange times right now, and meeting people is different to how it was 6-7 months ago. Where would you recommend someone start looking if they want to meet somebody now?
So for me, right now, I would definitely suggest online because that is how we live right now. And for me, I see so many advantages of online dating. I know that people have many reservations and judgments and criticism about it. But for me, isn't it convenient that I can even be at my home and have date with you? I don't even have to go somewhere, spend even more effort. I can sit here and meet you and see if you are for me. So first off, you are safe. You are, sometimes, especially women are afraid of online dating, who they will meet. Is it safe? Right now, you are 100% safe. You are in your home. You have control over everything. So for me, that is really big thing. Second thing is, in online dating, now everybody's online. Even people who were not before, now everybody's coming online. That means that everybody is there. You are not missing out on anything. And in terms of, because of course there are so many apps, there are so many dating sites, like it's where to start there. So for me, that means just listen to yourself. We are sometimes more comfortable with some apps or some websites than the others. So start there. It's not that you will be married to that website or that app and you won't be able to change, but start where you are comfortable. If that is, let's say, Bumble over Tinder, start there because you feel more comfortable with choosing and starting conversations. Start there. And then you see after 2-3 weeks, it's not working. Let's try something else. But really start where you are most comfortable and where you are led to. And then always you can adjust. You can always change. And again, as we mentioned before, have fun, be light, just share some jokes, show real side of you, like fun side of you. You don't have to be so serious and just, think about this person. Okay, he is the one, or I will never meet anyone. He's just the person that you are meeting. So be light and just approach online dating with that lightness and fun. Nothing more than that. So that would be like the biggest thing for me, because I know that I was missing that the most when I was online dating.
Absolutely. What online dating does, it provides you with opportunities, and it's down to you to make the most of them. And that's completely the way you handle your messages, how you handle the interactions. If you choose to do it in a fun, light way, like you said, you're going to enjoy the process. If you hate doing it, you hate corresponding with people, you're going to hate the process. So don't go into it with the right mindset.
Like when you are going to work out, if you hate workout, if you say to yourself every day, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. Well, guess what? You will hate it and you won't be consistent. But if you start enjoying it and bring more lightness and joy into that and start with workouts that you really enjoy, well, you are most likely to be consistent and to get results that you want. So it's always that joy piece, that lightness is what gets us what we want.
Absolutely is. Now, one last question for you. Do you believe you can have more than one soulmate?
We are having so many soulmates. And we are having soulmates on so many levels. I mean, we can talk only about romantic soulmates, but everybody that we meet is our soulmates on some level. So I believe that we can have soulmates in plural, not only singular.
Brilliant. Great answer. Well, thank you so much.
On that?
Thank you so much for joining me today. The time has flown by, as it often does on my podcast. Yeah. And I can't believe I could talk to you for a long time. But thank you very much. Before I go, if someone wants to get hold of you or find out more about what you do, how can they reach you?
Well, they can reach me through my website or through social media because, again, we are also online. So I'm mainly on Instagram and my handle is the Sandra Hey. My website is sandrahay.com, so you can find me there as well. And I would like to offer, if you don't mind, to your listeners a free call with me. So to all women who are really feeling ready, that they want to meet their soulmate, that they want to meet their dream man, but they still have this reservation and they don't know what is holding them back and they don't know where to start, they can always reach out. We can have a short call where we'll really dig deep and see what is it that what is holding you back, and to create that plan that will get you that relationship that you truly want. So basically, this call is absolutely for free. So for all your listeners, we can leave them link here. So if they want, they can go ahead and schedule a call.
Wonderful. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Sandra. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been good fun, and I'll speak to you another time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and have an amazing day.
Thank you so much for listening. I'd love to give you a free copy of my latest book, which you can download right now from my website, jamespriest.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you could share the love by taking a few seconds to write a positive review on the iTunes store right now. See you next time.